I was just briefed that I have to tell you to ask me questions, so go for it. I figured I should probably tell you that because it'd be a little bit awkward afterwards if I didn't have any questions and I just had to stand here with an empty screen. I think I'd be a bit miserable. So I have a bit of a confession to make. I arrived here in Madrid on Tuesday with a perfectly written speech, start to finish, all logically laid out, all memorized nicely. And then last night I deleted it and started all over again because I didn't like it. I wasn't saying anything that I thought I needed to say, and I wasn't saying anything that I thought you needed to hear. I had written a lot of words, but none of them actually said anything at all. It was just a bunch of wishy-washy nonsense that sounds happy and inspirational that doesn't really mean anything. And I just couldn't get up here in good conscience and share that with a group of people who are looking to learn something. So I'm standing here right now with a speech that I wrote last night, and my phone is a prompt, and I work as an actor, so learning your lines is incredibly important to me. So I am terrified of using a prompt because to me that screams failure. But I think sharing something authentically is far more important than appearing perfect to a group of people, and that's what I want to share with you today. So here we go, I guess. All of us have a favorite story. It might be a film or a book or a TV show, the content in which you absorb this story, it doesn't matter. But it's the story itself that's what captivates you and draws you in, and it keeps you glued right till the very end. It's the story that stays with you. Human beings, we've been storytellers ever since the beginning of time. It was through stories that people learnt how to survive. They learnt how to face the world and how to get through it. These stories, they were passed down through generations, from human to human, and the thread of each story joined in with threads from other stories until the whole world is covered in a web made of threads of individual stories, right till today where they're still being told. People know that they can do hard things because stories have told them so. And I don't really want to give a presentation right now, so I guess instead I'm going to tell you a story. I'm 3 years old and I have a lot of energy. So my parents put me into ballet classes in the hope that it'll burn some of it off. They thought it would be a temporary thing, and they were very wrong. I'm 16 years old, and I step into a drama class for the first time, desperate for more chances to be on the stage. And that's when I fall in love. Not with one of the other spotty, awkward teenagers I share the class with, but with theatre and with telling stories to people. Theatre becomes all I can think about. I spend 3 years at university studying theatre. I get my first stage job after countless auditions. Then I get another and another and another. And suddenly, I'm living the life I always dreamed of, and I'm not even 20 yet. People are jealous, and that feels kind of good because I'm successful. I'm doing something that they can't do. I beat them. I won. Everything seems so perfect to other people looking in to my life, but to me, everything's so far from being perfect. Because at 21 years old, I was finally diagnosed with Aspergers Syndrome, which, if you don't know, it's part of the autism spectrum. At first, I'm glad to be diagnosed. Suddenly, so much of my life makes sense to me and I have the ability to put my behavior into words, but then I'm scared. I don't want to be different to everyone else. I want to be normal. I want to be safe. I want to fit in. I want to be perfect. I promise myself that I won't ever talk about the fact that I have autism to anyone, because that way nobody will know that I'm not perfect, that I'm not like you. Autism, however, it's given me a gift. It's made me very good at pretending. The reason I'm so good at acting on stage is because I'm constantly acting off of it. Every one of my interactions is scripted, memorized like the lines that I memorize for a play. I've become a master chameleon, pretending to be other people for a living. I spend most of my life on stage pretending to be somebody else, but I don't know how to stand on stage and be myself. I don't even know who myself is. To me, I'm just a mix of every role I've ever played, of every person I've ever met, of every person I want to be. I'm not perfect. If I was perfect, I wouldn't have a prompt right now. I'm a messy, complicated human, and I'm not ashamed of my autism. It's part of the person that I am. Yes, autism can be hard, but being a person is hard, and I'm proud to be on the autism spectrum, which sounds strange and surreal to people who don't understand, but my brain has leaps and bounds that other people's brains just don't do, and that doesn't make me imperfect, it just makes me different. I'm different, I'm not less. And I'm here today because I want to be the person that I needed when I was younger. I hid myself because I couldn't see anybody out there who looked like me. I couldn't see anybody who was different like me. And I don't want any people, especially any autistic people, to feel like they have to hide themselves from a world who doesn't understand them, or from a world that tells them that they're not good enough to be in it. It's taken a long time, but I finally stopped hiding. The first time I shared the story of my autism and my life, it was just this past May, and a girl came up to me in the crowd afterwards. She explained that she was starting college soon, and that she'd just been diagnosed with Asperger's the last week, and that she was scared, and she didn't think she'd make any friends, and she didn't want to do any of it. But seeing someone like her made her feel brave. She knew that she could do hard things. She knew she could do hard things because I did hard things too. And we hugged and we cried, and I didn't even get her name, but she's stayed with me ever since. Because she took my story and she weaved it into her own, and now she's off and she's spreading her story with others, and they're weaving hers with theirs, and soon there will be a whole new web of stories across the world that started with one single thread that belongs to me. So I guess now I'm just talking to you. You sitting in the audience there today, you trying your best to be perfect, to be successful, to be the best, make the most money, have the best friends, look the nicest, be the greatest. And I am saying to you that you are allowed to put down that heavy weight that you've been carrying, that weight that's pretending. Because we're all actors in this room today. We all pretend to be somebody better, somebody perfect. And each day, we're weaving the story of our lives with every decision that we make. We only get one chance at weaving the story that is our life, and that's really scary. But when you share your story, your real, authentic story, without pretending, without hiding, other people can take it and they can weave it into their own. And they pass it to others, and then soon there will be a whole new web surrounding the world. And that web started with you. All these stories have been shared because you shared yours first, because you became the person that you needed when you were younger. Because you did the hard thing. We can do hard things. We can stop pretending. You can stop pretending. And I think that that's the most beautiful gift that you can give the whole world. Thank you. Oh, here we go. Thanks for some great questions, guys. What do you think about the picture? I'm not wearing my glasses, my goodness. That the movie and the TV industry has developed of people within the autism spectrum. Oh boy, I could talk for hours about that. I think it's really dangerous to stereotype people into a very specific category, and I think while there's some decent content out there representing autistic people, I think we're always, making autism look a very specific way. A young, straight, white man who is a genius at maths and science, but, struggles a bit with social communication, but in a really adorable and pleasing way, and his mates all laugh at his quirky behaviour, and he might be the butt of the joke a few times. But that's not what autism looks like, and that's why it took me until I was 21 to actually get diagnosed, because people couldn't see that I was autistic because I didn't fit that one specific stereotype. So I'd really like to see some media being created where autism looks completely different, and where people can go, oh, okay, autism comes in so many flavours. So yeah, that's what I think about that. If you could talk to your younger self, what advice would you give her? I would tell her that everything's going to turn out just fine. Even when you think it won't, it will. Because life is worth pushing through all the times that stuff is hard to get to the good stuff. And the good stuff is going to be so good that you're going to forget that the bad stuff is even really a problem at all. Because you're going to be so happy in the future that you're going to forget that you were even ever really sad. And that it's okay to be exactly the person that you were made to be. You don't have to be a clone of anybody else. So, what do you think has been the happiest moment in your life? Oh my God, how on earth am I meant to answer that? I am a very cheerful person. Everything makes me happy. The other day I saw a video on Facebook of two gay otters holding hands, because otters hold hands when they are swimming and they go to sleep so that they don't lose each other. And it made me so happy that I cried. It was so beautiful. So I think every single thing, every day I have a happiest moment of my life. I think the happiest moment I can think of overall was probably the day I moved 24 hours across the world. I grew up in Australia, and I moved 24 hours across the world to London, where I live and work now. And that's why my accent is so weird. And the day I got there, you get off the plane and you're ugh, because you've flown 24 hours straight and you're sweaty, and I'm dragging, I couldn't even pick my suitcase up, it was so heavy, and I'm dragging it through Heathrow, and it was just a nightmare to get to where I was staying. And I was able to have a shower, and I stepped out, and the first thing I saw was a London taxi going by, and I was like, oh my God, I've done it. Because I guess being autistic, people tell you can't do a lot of things, and people were always like, no way could you do that by yourself. So I did all of this entirely alone, and just the act of seeing the taxi go by just like hit home to me that I actually did it. Like, it wasn't all just this weird surreal dream, which is what flying can sometimes feel like when you've been on a plane for so long. You just forget that being on the ground exists at all. You're just permanently in a skybox for the rest of your life. And so I think it really just snapped me into that realization that, wow, I just did it. And there was a lot of stuff that came up after that that was really hard to deal with about moving overseas by myself, and I cried a lot the first few days. But there was just this overwhelming feeling of pride, like, hey, I did this thing. Look, all of you who said I couldn't do this or this or this. Hi, I'm here, I did it. And that felt pretty great, not gonna lie. What advice? Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm losing the questions. Is that a hint that I'm done? No, okay. I can keep going. What do you think? There was a question that I didn't get. It was a good one. There was one about advice I can give to people who know someone with Asperger's. And I don't know if they took it down because they don't want me to answer that, but too bad, I read it, so I'm going to answer it. Just treat them like any of your other friends. Oh my God, we're not like, you don't have to treat us like we're wrapped in cotton wool, or, oh, hey honey, are you okay? Are you going to be able to do the thing? How are you doing? Baby talk is just like, oh, really? I'm an adult, hi, I'm a grown-up, I have a university degree. But yeah, just treat them how you would any of your other friends, but be aware that sometimes they'll need, time to go and chill out or have a lie down or something, but like, we're just like everyone else. I've just got a different flavor of brain. It's like, I really don't see any difference between me and you because everyone's different anyway. It's like, why would you treat your friend that has blonde hair differently to your friend that has brown hair? And just be there for them, if they want to tell you something that's hard, just let them talk, listen. I think practicing how to listen good is something I need to learn, but it's also something we all need to learn. I think we're so used to talking and sharing and posting and liking that we've forgotten how to listen, and I think active listening and being there for people who need to talk is a really good way to heal a community. Oh, how can we follow you on Instagram and Twitter? I love social media. I am a true millennial. I have all the socials, Snapchat me. On Instagram, I am at Tashi Kate, but it's not spelt that way because someone else took my name. So it's at Tashi, Tashi, K-T-T, because I'm edgy. And that's my Instagram and my Twitter. And I also run an Instagram, which I'm going to plug, which is called @AspyMemes, which is probably an easier one to remember, which I started just as a way of, because my phone was out of space because I saved so many memes. Like I said, I'm a real millennial. And I needed a place to put my memes so I could delete them off my phone because I kept running out of space. So it's like, I'll just make this Instagram that no one's going to find, and I'm just going to dump all my memes there and no one's going to know, and it's fine. And then the meme account got followers and I was like, oh, alrighty, now I'm a meme lord. So if you want to see some high quality memes, or especially if you are on the spectrum, there's some pretty decent relatable memes on there if you like. But yeah, Tashi Kate, Tashi, I post a lot of pictures of my cat. She is beautiful. And I guess now that questions have stopped popping up and I only have 44 seconds left, which is, this big countdown is so off-putting. It's like, is it going to explode? What's the deal here, guys? But now that I have 30 seconds left, I think I'm just going to say goodbye. And thank you so much for listening to me. And thank you so much for being here.